Our hearts go out to our immigrant people right now because we know that there are so many who have been seeking nothing but to find a place of security and peace where they can work and raise their family. And now we know that many are living in fear, even before new policies are put into place, simply because of the rhetoric that is spoken about them every day. And so our hearts as leaders in the church go out to our brothers and sisters who are migrants to this country. We know that we as a nation have a tremendous responsibility, and we have become a great nation because we have welcomed immigrants, because we have integrated them. Sometimes our reaction to those who have come historically has not been good, but overall this process has happened, and it has created a great dynamism. It's made our country beautiful because of its diversity. And so now we're sharing your concern, and what we can assure you is that we will not go silent. We will not make believe that you're not here and not our brothers and sisters. We will walk with you. We will continue to do all in our power to support you as you experience this difficult time. I think we've made a real mistake in this country when we have viewed immigration as a border issue. I'm a border bishop, right? So I certainly experience the reality of our life. And here in El Paso, this city on a border that is also very interlinked with the city on the other side, Ciudad Juarez. We know the reality of immigration, but we also know that the issues surrounding immigration go far beyond the border. I like to say that the border is a place where you can see the symptoms of a broken system, but you can't really find the solutions. Very often in medicine, we treat symptoms, right? When we have an illness, when there's a fever, we take aspirin. When there's pain in a particular joint, and once again, we take something for the pain, but it doesn't solve the problem in the joint, and it doesn't cure the illness. It's the same with immigration. To the degree that there are issues regarding immigration, we need to look to other places to find the source. We need to look to the sending countries, the places from which people are fleeing, and see what we can do as a nation to be helpful to them in reestablishing some sense of security. And we do that not just because we're a great nation who cares about other people. That's a good start. We do it because we also recognize that we have a certain responsibility. For instance, we buy the drugs that support the criminal organizations that then bring instability to those nations. So we look to the sending countries. We also need to look to the way that people are received in our country. If it is with efforts to that end up isolating them and putting them on the fringe of society, we're not helping them to integrate as healthy members of our community. So we need to look at how we're helping those sending nations and how we're receiving them. Well, of course, I was very surprised to open an envelope that came to my desk on Friday morning, this last Friday, and to find within it a letter signed by our Holy Father. It was a beautiful summary of his teaching in regard to immigration, and in one page, he was writing it to me at that time because he's concerned about what he's been hearing in our country about the growing sentiment against immigrants in our country, which again raises all kinds of fears within the immigrant community, all kinds of pain when they are characterized by broad generalizations that don't apply to 98% of those who have come. So the Holy Father expressed his sharing of our concern as a church on the border serving the immigrant community, and also, of course, for those who are people who have come to our country themselves. The Holy Father expressed his closeness to all of those who have experienced this difficult time in our country, and I anticipate difficult days to come, also assuring us that his prayers and his support are with those who are going through this difficult experience. For me, I have to say that this work that I find myself involved in a very particular way, because I've become a board or bishop, is something that has its roots in, first of all, my Christian faith. I learned it when I went to Mass on Sunday and saw people of all different ages, all different cultures, all different backgrounds coming together as one that we called the body of Christ, sharing that communion. And then it began to take flesh in a certain way as I became concerned about attacks on the life of the unborn child. That awareness really arose in me as a young seminarian when the Supreme Court ruled that a ruling that permitted abortions to be done pretty much throughout our country, and so I had to wrestle with the humanity of people that I hadn't seen or hadn't known, but were present among us in the womb of their mothers. It struck me in recent years that really what I'm experiencing is an immigration problem in both of these issues. The immigration, if you will, from that unknown other person in the womb that is seen differently because we haven't experienced them, met them. And the person who comes from another nation, another culture, another language, who we also make other, whom we also fear because we haven't had the chance to meet them. Both cases are situations in which that innate human dignity that belongs to every human person, no matter their background, no matter their situation, even no matter what they've done to some degree, we still recognize their dignity. We have to begin there always in deciding how we are going to treat them. And we have to begin with that love for the person created in the image and likeness of God. Simple. I just want to encourage anyone who might listen to this to really come back again, set aside the fears that so often drive this issue, and recognize our call to see the other in a new way, and not to judge them before we know them. To really open our heart to that other person, recognize their goodness, recognize that very often what they have done is exactly what we would do if we found ourselves in their situation. Let's start there before we decide on policies towards them.